Greetings, folks. This is what am I doing? I don't know what I'm doing. Welcome to Channel Otherdoc. That's what I'm doing. I'm Jim. I use he/him pronouns, and today we're continuing our mini campaign of Tremulus: Shadows Under the Ice. Tremulus is a game of eldritch or Lovecraftian horror that uses the haiku system, which draws heavily on games that are powered by the apocalypse, as well as taking some inspiration from games like Fate and Fiasco. For this game, we've chosen the playset The Frozen Wasteland. We're going to go around and say hello to everybody, let them say who they are and who they're playing, and we shall start with Katy. Hello!
Hi everybody, I am Katy, and I forgot my character's name. I play Dottie Edwards. We both use she/her pronouns. I am playing the entertainer playbook, so
Yay.
I'm very excited to actually get into this.
Yay! Awesome. And let us move on to Anino. Hello!
Hey, my name is Anino. I use he/him pronouns, and I am playing Harold Hill, the Antiquitarian.
Yes, indeed. Antiquities, various antiquities, purveyor thereof. And let us move on to Jasper. Hello!
Hi, I'm Jasper. I use they/them pronouns. I'm playing C.T. Gray, a detective who, well, we're going to start off with him today, so it'll be fun.
Excellent. And finally, Levi. Hello!
Hello, hi, I am Levi Phipps, and I will be playing Mitchell McCready, the pilot, and we both use he/him pronouns.
Excellent. Good, good. All right, let us do this thing. So, but before we do this thing, like we do with most games on this channel, we're going to be using the X card, the N card, and the O card. If we hit something that's crossing a line for one of the players, any of them can type an X in the Zoom video chat or anywhere else, or make an X symbol, and we'll back up and do something else. If something happens that you're okay having in the game, but you don't want a graphic description of it, type an N in the Zoom chat and we'll fade to black on it, or put it behind a veil, and so it'll be there, but we won't go into detail. Finally, if you're in the midst of intense role-playing and you think we might be worried you're really upset out of character, you can put an O in the chat to let us know you're okay and that we're good to keep piling on the drama. Something else we can do is put an O with a question mark after it when we say or do something and think maybe that might be a little too much. Then everyone else can respond to that and let us know if we're still doing okay. And those are the safety tools which we employ on this channel. We mostly did character creation stuff last time, and then also setting building stuff. We did do a little bit of RP that happened in the tavern, which I don't think we actually named. And if anyone has an idea for a name for the tavern, feel free to let me know. We are currently in Siberia. In the town of Verkhoyansk? Is that the name of the town? I wrote it down, and of course I have 9 million tabs open, so I'm not sure where I put anything, as usual. There it is. Verkhoyansk. Yeah, I think that's what, so they're looking for, apparently there was, some time ago, there was a Zeppelin that went down, possibly during the Great War. There were supposedly a collection of books on there, rare books that were supposedly held by the Romanov family, the royal family of Russia prior to them being ousted. And so there is a desire to go and hunt those down. There is this expedition is being sort of funded by Mr. Hill's employer, Mr. Strickland, a joint venture between Mr. Strickland and someone that Dottie's bodyguard Charlie knows, whom Charlie has not... Charlie will tell probably Dottie if she absolutely presses him on it and wants to know who it is, but otherwise he hasn't really said. It's just sort of one of those things where associates, the best you can tell is it's someone he knows in New York. it was possibly someone also that your husband knew. But that's all he's volunteered.
That's reassuring.
As far as the information goes, it's just like, well, this will help us get, this will help with getting this debt settled, and you don't have to worry about it anymore. So we were at the this tavern where it was getting on to, well, what they consider night. The thing is, and we didn't really fully express this, we were trying to figure out when sunset was, and I just sort of vagued it to like 3, 4 or so. It does depend very much on that part of the globe what time of year it is, and we've determined it's actually midsummer, which means the sun does not go down. Here, this close to the Arctic Circle, you have essentially like a month and a half of daylight. The sun is going to be up there for a very long time, and so it's going to be a whole thing. But people seem to people seem to kind of sort of decide that they sort of time themselves in that city. Kind of, it's sort of odd. It's basically they know that happy hour is starting because the town doctor shows up at the bar. That's about when it is. So he's
it kind just feels right.
Yeah, he's kind of their metronome. It's him and the lumberjacks basically. Because I mean the reindeer trainers kind of keep their own hours. But it's them, and then the only other strict timekeeping that goes on here, aside from that, happens over at the fort, where they keep the political prisoners. So that's not necessarily, that's not necessarily a thing that anyone wants to go and visit. And actually, the thing is that like at least half this town, the more time you spend here, the more you realize that probably a lot of the residents of the town are also exiles. So that's kind of a thing. So
it is Siberia. What did we expect?
It's fair. I mean, this is where Stalin sends people he does not like but does not wish to kill. That's kind of, you're starting to realize what this place is. Now the thing, as where we were last time, we were in the bar. There had been just a little bit of conversation between folks. Dr. Barbashev came in, so we knew happy hour was starting. Made a couple of weird comments, as he is wont to do. We had a few things happen in that. We had old Igor came in. Who is like the town weirdo, basically. One of the town weirdos, anyway. Sort of wandered in, went up to our detective Gray and asked, it's like told them that they're gonna find somebody, and then was trying to figure that out. Then Mitchell came over and distracted him. And then he suddenly didn't really know exactly where he was or what he was doing, but then he was like, yes, I need to hire, there's an American detective here I need to hire to find someone. I think that's it.
Yeah.
And
we agreed to meet under a mysterious tree. So
yes, agreed to meet under the tree tomorrow morning. In the meantime, the town fixer Lev came in. Lev Dreitzer came in and sort of took Harold aside to have a conversation with him about some goods that he has a hold of, and we have not had that conversation yet. We'll have that conversation soon, hopefully. But the main thing also that was concerning to old Igor before he fled was that he was looking over at the mantelpiece where there's a fire going, and there's nothing immediately visible, but during Gray's conversation earlier with Igor, he kind of sort of brushed the neck a little bit, trying to just got frustrated at one point. Here, let me show you. And Gray saw this vision of there were families in the bar, there were children, and then there was someone in the corner covering their eyes. And then that was just for a split second as sort of the lights were sort of went down and came back up again for Gray. So now this realization starts to set in that whether they can see it actively or not, Igor is concerned about something becoming active roughly at this hour. It's not keyed to the sun, certainly, but he thinks that he was looking very, very scared over at the mantelpiece, and there might be something on it, even though you can't see it. And Igor fled. And that's where we are.
Oh, is that all?
Yeah, that's it. That's all there is. So, I think the first person we will go to. Let's go ahead and catch Dottie up a little bit. Then I think I'm going to probably, not too long after that, segue over to Harold so that we can get that conversation with Lev taken care of. Dottie, I'm going to assume that you've kind of been setting things up in your room. Is there...
Yeah, that makes sense. Probably unpacking, that kind of thing.
Yeah. So Charlie's been up there helping you with that. And then, we'll go off to... He probably has either... I think probably... So my guess is that probably the way this is set up, Charlie is probably rooming with one of the guys, and then there's a possibility that I'm trying to figure out how many. I'm guessing Harold might have. I think Dottie would have her own room. Harold probably has his own room just because of the nature of the trip. And I'm concerned that everyone else will be piled into a single room, possibly, but it's that might be what's happening. I'm not sure.
Yeah. Checks out.
So
I can see that.
So they're like two beds in there, and then there's a sort of a chair, and Charlie has already volunteered to just take the chair because apparently he's used to sleeping in weird positions. But these things, they happen. So, Dottie, is there anything in particular you do aside from unpacking, getting ready, or in particular you want to address before you appear in the bar?
I don't think so. She's not questioning Charlie any further about who his mysterious benefactor person is. She doesn't care. She doesn't want to know. I think she is just going through the routine of changing her clothes, making sure she looks not so travel weary, and then she's going to go down to the bar with Charlie.
Okay. So as you you come out from sort of an upstairs room. You're coming down the stairs. What do folks see as you're coming down the stairs? What does Dottie look like?
Yeah, Dottie is a average sized woman. She has shoulder length brown wavy hair that in this instance it was covered up by a cloche earlier, but she's let it she's taken her hat off, and I think she's just pulled it back with a little brooch to the side that's obviously fake, obviously costume jewelry. It's a little gaudy looking, but it's obviously not real crystal or diamonds by any means. Mm-hmm. And I think she's dressed a little over the top for the setting, for where they are. She's wearing a black low cut dress, and even gone as far to wear gloves up to her elbows. And she's she's just sort of looking around, trying to get a sense of everyone that's here and everything that's happening. She's not like making any direct contact at the moment. And I think after a moment, she goes to like a table closer. No, she goes to the bar, to the actual bar, and I think she like sits down and begins to light a cigarette and just sort of keep looking around.
Okay. So you're going to notice a few different things that are going on. You see that the bar's got there are a lot of lumberjacks here right now. And the various mostly men of the big burly variety, and then various other strange individuals in their various shady nooks, as such locations are wont to have. The pub with 19 corners, and behind the bar you have Yelena, who is very busily. She's like actually apparently just sort of serving drinks with her hands moving very rapidly, as it's now getting to that point. And her granddaughter Galena is also behind the bar, and she will come up. She will actually come up. I think that Galena probably is got long brown hair that comes about to the middle of her back, I think, and she's kind of thin. She has a sort of little pointy nose, and she comes up. She just sort of will come up to you. What may I get you?
I suppose you have vodka?
We have almost nothing but vodka.
Good, just little shot of vodka will be enough. Warm my bones, please.
And she will grab she had it to hand, strangely. And she says, "Do you sing? I saw that you were looking at the piano when you came in."
I do, yes. I am. It's my job, actually. Are you in need of entertainment?
Well, I just wondered what it sounds like. I tell you what, I give you this in the next couple no charge if you wanna go up and sing something.
Sure. That's I haven't prepared at all, but sure, I would love to.
Thank you. And she seems very pleased. You will note that well, actually, before we dive over, let me just make sure I can check on this real quick, so that I might do this. So yeah. And so as you're sort of looking around, you do see that you spot Gray and McCready, who brought you here, and they're actually they're watching somebody leave. The pub sort of looks like a sort of a hunched over old man, and they're looking slightly. I don't know. I don't know. What would it, bemused? Would that be a good word? What would be a good word to describe their reactions currently to what had just happened?
Yeah, bemused is not bad. Just like, odd fellow.
She definitely gives them both a nod of acknowledgement. Probably she's taken her shot with her to the piano, so she's probably just like, nods it toward them as she continues to cross the room.
Okay. All right. So, you're going to sit down and play something, or?
Yeah. I think she's just going to play like just some old lounge standards she knows.
Nice.
something that doesn't really require her to pay much attention to what she's doing.
Cool. Cool. Jim neglected to bring appropriate music, so we will pretend. So it's so. Is it one of those? But I would like to know the type of standard we're talking about. Is it one of the happier ones or the slower ones?
No, it's definitely mood music to the sort of setting she's in. I think it's definitely I wouldn't say it's like a depressing type of song, but it's 100% like a ballad kind of thing. It's not anything. It's like the kind of song about, you know, you'd listen to in the background while you drink your troubles away, that kind of thing.
Cool.
But you don't want to do ragtime?
I'm not gonna, I mean, maybe get me a little drunker.
Ah, okay. Excellent. So, whilst this is happening, I'm going to possibly. Whilst this is happening, I'm going to shift over to one of the shadowy corners of this bar, and we're going to go look in on. We're going to go look in on the little deal that is happening, of sorts. Well, perhaps it's a deal. We don't know. So, Harry, you are in a booth talking to Lev Dreitzer. Lev has picked up this bag and he's cautiously puts it on the table, and so he sort of pushes it toward pushes it a little bit, just sort of furtively. He says, there are things here that are not in use anymore, and I am wondering if any of this is helpful to your cause.
Our cause? What do you know of our cause?
Well, you deal antiquities, yes? You buy, sell?
Well, that is my business, yes.
Yeah, that cause.
Fair enough. Did he pull the items out and lay them on the table now? Or are they all still in the bag?
Yeah, right now they're still in the bag because he's being very, very furtive about it. He's shown you a music box so far, but he's trying to just sort of keep this as private as possible. So he'll if you just sort of wait and look, he will cautiously start to pull the items out one at a time.
Okay.
So you are seeing a few things. There are most of them are a little older. There is a music box. There are a couple of sort of porcelain-looking dolls. There is there's like an old kind of a little carousel-looking device, and these look like mostly children's toys. And then he does. There are a couple of little sort of books, little notebooks that he pulls out too. But that's like the entirety of it. At first glance, it's one of those things where maybe, but you'd probably have to look at them a little more closely.
Okay. So I guess he'll check out the porcelain dolls first. He'll handle them very delicately, despite the fact that he has very stubby and not so graceful looking fingers. But he is a professional who sells antiques and antique accessories, so he'll be doing his best to preserve the condition of the porcelain dolls.
Cool. And you look at it. So you're looking at the dolls. They're actually the dolls look like they might be worth something. These are. So you probably can't get anything from this. You're not familiar. You'd have to look up the artist. It does have a maker's mark. So you'd probably have to look up the maker to see if they're anyone significant.
Okay.
Off the top of your head, it's not something that you're immediately familiar with. But it could be. It's like, but you know that there is a market for them.
Okay.
Possibly also for the music box. The other stuff, maybe for as novelties, but not really like major stuff as far as it goes. Just at first glance.
Okay. So Harry's pretty much identified the dolls and the music box as items of import.
Yes.
Okay.
As far as you can tell, there is something kind of interesting about the dolls that does strike you as there is something that you're reminded of, but it's in the back of your head. You're not entirely sure what with the dolls.
Okay.
But there is something slightly familiar.
Slightly familiar. Okay. So, sorry, trying to pull up my playbook really quick.
Oh, no problem. Truth be told, I should be doing the same sort of things.
So professional here. So now these items look interesting. What can you tell me about where you found them?
Well, it's difficult to say. Well, no, he doesn't. He's not going to say it's difficult to say. So he's going to look at them. Okay. You know what? Sorry, there's a thing going on in the background here in my apartment that's getting really annoying to me. Real quick. So.
Was that you with the sirens?
Yeah, there's a thing. There's a thing. So I just have to. Oh, thank goodness it stopped. Okay, I think we're good.
Okay.
I was gonna be like, I gotta go unplug something. But no, I think we're safe. Hopefully. Anyway, hi. I recently. Well, no, it's just I bought a machine that cleans other things, and it turned on for no apparent reason just a moment ago. I'm not entirely sure, but as long as I don't asphyxiate within the next few minutes, we'll be good. No. Anyway, does it via ozone? So yeah, no, you are.
Deadly.
So yeah, you are. You're looking at those, and you asked him where he got them. He'll sort of say, well, typically something of this nature, it is better if I... most people don't wish to know the precise location, if you tell me. But they're made... some of these were made in... down... around St. Petersburg, I believe, is somewhere some of them came from originally.
St. Petersburg. Was this a estate sale? Did you purchase it from another business?
Well, no, these are just a thing that they were here locally, and there's no one has use for them anymore. You see, so a number of different individuals have passed on, and so it's unfortunate, but these are they did not wield them to anyone. So.
Indeed. So an estate sale. Okay.
One could call it that.
Sure. Could I try to puzzle things out with the dolls?
Yeah, I think that yeah, there's definitely more to be learned here. I think. So yeah, when you face an intellectual dilemma, yeah, go ahead and roll plus reason. We'll see what happens. Okay, so you got a 7, and let me make sure that everyone's able to see that because I click. There it is. Okay, good. So you get to ask one of these questions that are down here. If you've got the, do you have the list in front of you? If not, I will read the questions to you.
I have the questions. So one of my abilities is actually called identify objects.
Oh, cool.
And so it says I can ask an additional question on an item of import. So what should I keep an eye out for?
Okay. With these, generally provided that they come from, well, the source you think that they came from, then it's mostly just, you know, there are certain issues of customs, that kind of thing, which, you know, you hired a private plane to get here, so not as big a deal. The main thing is that you're gonna really want to look up the maker's mark before you try to sell these, and that will help you figure out to whom you wish to sell them if you want to pick them up. Be on the lookout for. But a more immediate thing is that yeah, these, you've actually seen something, you think now, in this, you know, in this town. You think you might have seen someone's work that was not unlike this. Maybe there was like a mannequin or something you saw. That might have certain similar. That just reminds you a little bit of, you think, if so, it probably would have been at the tailor's shop.
Okay. So I will try to look at the dolls and check the maker's mark just to get an eye of them.
Yeah.
And then, yeah.
You get it. It's kind of actually like a like half a star.
Huh. Okay. And I guess my other question is, how do the dolls fit together? Are they like in a collection? Is there some sort of connection between the dolls? Like, are they a part of a particular set? Does it seem like the set is missing something?
It looks like they were individually made. They're actually it's weird. You can tell they were made by the same person, but they are very different from each other. In that the style is the same, and actually, now that you look at it, the detail in the faces is really good. These
Okay,
look
that's
like
not
two
creepy.
distinctly different people.
So I'll ask Lev, this mark, do you recognize it?
And he looks at the mark. He looks under the mark, and he's like, he sets it down. And the mark's like on the foot. Usually, it's like under the shoe, basically, on both of them. And he says, "It looks. It does look familiar. Yeah. I think I have seen that somewhere else."
Do you remember where?
Well, if you're interested possibly in acquiring more of these or things from the same maker, I might be able to track it down. If you have, if you wish to engage me to do so.
Perhaps. So he'll set down the doll's side, and then he'll pick up the music box very carefully. And is Dottie still?
Yeah, this way yes, Dottie has been singing, and so she's doing a lounge standard, so it probably is. It's only going to be like 5 minutes, that type of thing.
Okay. Well, while she's singing, I'm going to carefully open the music box.
Death metal
Hopefully.
blares out. No.
Mimic.
Slayer.
Mimic. So, what it plays? Yeah, you're carefully opening it. It's not too loud, especially not in here. The noise, it's not going to travel very far. Well, people are a little quieter than usual right now because Dottie is singing. So you do have it a little bit in the background, but you sort of cover it right here. And it's kind of dissonant. It's a little weird in the way that it sounds. It's like sort of this thing that it is a melody. And maybe it's your imagination, but the candle on your table gutters a little bit more brightly when you open the music box. And but it does play this strange sort of thing where it's not like it's out of key or anything like that, which I don't think a music box can be, but it's like the placement of the notes are just kind of odd and haunting. It's a little, it's like, are you sure you want children to hear this type thing?
Well, he'll close it up and he'll say, well, this thing right here gives the heebie-jeebies. All right, so I'm going to try to identify the objects
normal,
here.
by the way. Sorry, go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. So he's going to try to use it.
I have a music box.
Oh, I was like, where's that coming from?
Excellent.
Where's what coming from?
Okay.
Thanks, Dingo.
Yay!
Okay.
All right, so same deal.
Okay, so I rolled it. Looks like I rolled an 8.
Mm-hmm.
What should I keep an eye out for?
There is you think that just the way that this was crafted, this had to have been done on purpose. It's not damaged or anything. So it's like this melody is it's maybe there's someone out there or some way in which the pattern of those notes is going to make sense, or someone to whom it would make sense. So it's there's something there's definitely just some sort of some piece missing here, as far as not literally, but as far as just logically, there's this box is not the whole story of whatever it is.
Okay. So is it just a music box, or is it sort of like a jewelry box too? Are there any other compartments apart from the music that might be storing something?
As you're sort of puzzling it out, and do you want that to be your second question?
Sure, I guess.
You do find, actually, as you are moving it around and you're looking for the maker's mark, you see one, but then you notice that the bottom slides a little bit. And there's another symbol that's kind of just etched into it in the underside of the music box. Looks kind of like a very simple sketch of a tree branch.
Okay. Is it is it the actual maker's mark, or is it just something that just happens to be inside the box?
Yeah, it's like the symbol is the you saw the maker's mark. The maker's mark actually is it's like a crescent. It's like a crescent moon. So that you find, but then you slide this portion aside, and then underneath is this little etched little tree thingy.
Okay.
Branch thingy.
So he'll just quirk his eyebrow and tap or point to the maker's mark as well, and just see what Lev has to say about it.
That one, I think that is a manufacturer in St. Petersburg, if I recall correctly.
Ironic or coincidental that all these items happen to be from St. Petersburg.
A lot of them are, yes. Oh.
Do you recognize this branch symbol?
He looks at it, is like, oh, no, I didn't see that before.
So you don't recognize it?
No, I don't. No, I do not. It's strange. Looks like a tree.
Yes, it does indeed. Okay. Am I okay to assume that Harry has at some point exchanged some of his money for US dollars for rubles?
Yes, you actually did it before you came to this continent.
Okay.
Because it was going to probably be a little hard to get hold of a money changer here. So yeah, you've got rubles.
Okay. And how much are you looking for this?
Let's see. Rubles to US dollars, 1920s. Wait, okay. $1.
I don't know how much
65
exactly
rubles,
wealth
so-
is.
Wealth
So-
is a nebulous unit of
Yeah.
money that we consider.
Indeed.
That is actually what it is. So you probably won't even spend like one wealth at the max on a music box, honestly.
Yeah.
But
So he gives you a figure that is basically a little shy of about, he says 900 rubles, which is about $13, which is kind of, which you know, in Depression era money is kind of up there. But if you wanted to do it, it would cost you like, probably, I'm thinking, part of one wealth.
part of one wealth.
It cost you half a wealth.
I'll tell you what.
open a tab.
Open a tab. You could find me information on those marks. I will give you the 800 rubles. And if your information is satisfactory, I'll pull out a cigar case, and then which is one of the knickknacks he happened to carry with him. And then when he opens the lid, he'll show that it contains cigars from the United States. I'm pretty sure that tobacco from the United States is very rare in Siberia, so perhaps he might find it interesting.
you break those out, and he just looks at he controls. You can see him controlling his face, trying to control his expression, but it's like done.
Okay, so I will give him the 800 rubles, and then I will put away the cigar case. It says, cigar cases shall be exchanged upon legitimate information.
Very good. All right, I'll ask around. Get to see what I can get. And so if you give him the 800, so he'll give you the items now. And,
okay.
And is that the deal? You give him the money, and he gives you the items now, and then he goes and he gets. Okay, all right. Yeah. All right.
What? Is this not gift wrapped? Just kidding.
No, we have no such things.
Hey.
All right, okay. And he nods to you, and then he gathers up his stuff into his sack. He conceals it back under. He taps his head and as he's getting up to leave, he says, "Oh, watch out for the domovoy. They're getting a bit antsy this time of year." And he heads off.
I'm sorry. Who's getting antsy this year?
He has actually walked away at this point and can no longer hear you as the crowd... Dottie has finished singing and the crowd is back up and talking again, so you don't know if he heard you or not.
Okay. So, I guess he'll just tuck his items together underneath his coat and watch the rest of the room and see what else is going on.
Okay. So, Gray and McCready, you were just talking about the stuff going on, and then Dottie started singing. Did you stay and watch that, or did you do something else?
Yeah, just stay and watch, because look who finally showed up.
I'm a very busy person.
She's good. She's
a
quite
lot of
good.
things
Show, though.
to unpack.
Yeah, she's there. Her bodyguard, Charlie, is sitting not too far from her, at a table. I'm imagining just sort of a big guy, very broad shoulders. He's kind of started going to pot a little bit, but he's, I think we described him as being late 40s, early 50s. Big bear of a man. Which, in here, is not that unusual. So yeah, she just finished her song.
If she finished her song, I think she stands up from the piano and finally takes her shot of liquor and gives sort of a little
applause.
nod.
People are like, yeah.
Yeah, she just gives a little nod to the group, and I think she notices Mitchell and Gray, and makes her way over to them. Good evening, gentlemen. I'm sorry, I'm not exactly used to the time yet.
Yes,
I will
change.
I will say, Harry, you are going to notice the others in the room. Just if at some point you decide you want to show up at some point or whatever. Sorry, keep going.
Yeah, it's very strange. It's kind of hard to get used to.
I'm sure it's something we'll get used to quickly, though, if we have no other choice.
Fair point. Fair point.
So, didn't exactly get, and I think she's slowly sitting down at this point.
Joining us at the table.
She's not even waiting for an invitation or anything. She's just sitting down. So what brought the two of you out to the tundra?
Hill's boss hired me as transportation.
You? And she's looking over at Gray.
Got something to find. Or maybe someone at this point.
Oh. Seems like you at least. You'll have an interesting stay.
Well, interesting's not what we always want, is it?
Not boring, though.
Fair point. So, what? Think you're going to? Grace, think you're going to need backup for that meeting?
Backup? What's he gonna do? He's an old man. He's gonna... What?
I don't know if he's gonna lash out like he did, back there. Want to make sure that you're an adult, you can handle yourself.
I mean, if you want to come, you can come.
Alright. Yeah, it's very strange. Like, any idea what's up with him?
What
Yes.
sort of meeting?
Oh, maybe wants to give me a job. Maybe wants to talk about someone. And Gray makes a weird face because visions and just kind of, yeah.
And you think the detective can't handle himself, Mr. McCready?
Oh, I'm fully aware that Gray's pretty capable.
Oh.
Yeah.
Doesn't seem like you'll be needed, then.
Fair assessment.
Galena comes up to your table with a tray with a couple of glasses, and she says, sort of sets them down actually next to Dottie. She says, "For you, and you have a few others also coming if you're interested."
She looks at Gray and Mitchell. Would you be interested in drinks? Apparently, from people who enjoyed this show, no charge.
Never want to turn down some good drink and some good show.
Don't have to convince me.
She just nods at Galena.
Alright.
Of course, tell them I said thank you. I appreciate it.
She nods, and she then looks. She actually looks over back at at McCready. She sort of smiles for a second. You settling in all right?
Yeah, it's been fine. You two gonna need any help starting to get busy? Need an extra set of hands?
I don't know. Don't let grandmother hear you say that. She'll take you up on it immediately.
Oh, it's no worries, no worries.
And she nods, and then she really looks up and she turns and says, all right, and she starts heading back over. Charlie is sitting nearby. He just is not going to interrupt your conversation unless you speak to him.
Yeah, I think she knows Charlie's nearby. She has like a rapport with him anyway. She's not, unless she needs him, she's not going to speak to him. She does look around for Harold though, and does she see him anywhere?
Is Harold spottable?
Yeah, he is. She'd probably spot him playing around with the dolls a little bit at the table. Just.
Yeah, that actually is perfect. Yeah, she sees him and like makes a face and looks back to Mitchell and Gray. Have you checked in on your employer? Looks like he's having a great time.
Best not disrupt him.
I mean, don't want to come between a man and his dolls, do you?
Never do.
Well, I suppose I will take my leave for the evening. I've done about as much here as I can, it seems, but any alcohol that comes my way, you're both more than welcome to it.
Much obliged.
She's going to stand up and tuck her seat back underneath the table and give them both a nod. And I think, like, move to go back upstairs and look at look over at Harold again and be a little confused.
Okay, so at that point, he's actually got a notebook open and seems to be sketching something. He's sketching the maker's marks that he found, as well as that the branch symbol into a book, so that he could show them around without actually carrying the items later.
Okay.
Would it be out of Dottie's way to walk near him as she heads back up?
Not too far.
Yeah, she's gonna do that and like try to get a look on what he's drawing and like looking at if I could puzzle things out. Can I do that?
I think that would be an excellent idea.
Let's see. I don't have anything. Okay, yeah. So it's just reason, and this is a straight roll for me. Nope.
All right.
It's pretty pictures.
Just great pictures.
So, but I believe in failing forward. So, I feel as though. No, this is not portentous enough for me to hold a harm on you. So, no, or not harm. What's the term in this game? Hard move.
A hold, or hard move.
Yeah, hold a hard move. So I think what I'm going to say is that as you are walking by the table, you're just sort of trying to see what it is, and you take just a moment too long, and Harold is going to notice you looking to see what's going on.
Okay.
But yeah, they're symbols. He's drawing symbols in his book. You're not sure exactly what they are.
Yeah, I don't think she unless it looks like you want to start a conversation. She's not going to say anything. She's going to give you sort of a nod. She doesn't. She was just being curious. She doesn't think she was doing anything wrong. So,
actually, he will actually motion her over and set the music box down. Here, I want you to take a listen to this and see if you recognize this tune. And he'll flip open the music box and let it play for her.
she sits down and listens to it.
Yeah,
A little confused that you would ask her, but she does.
It is weird and dissonant, and you're not sure why someone would compose a piece of music like this on purpose. It sounds like some of that weird stuff Gershwin is doing. Somewhat. But in the sort of more experimental stuff. But it's not like, not American style or anything. It's like it's got the sort of Eastern European flavor to it. But that's what you get immediately on the surface.
Can I also puzzle this out?
Yes, you may.
Okay. Oh my god!
So, as you're listening to this, it's like there is something to it that reminds you of kind of like some of the older Russian operas, and you have it's a little weird because for a moment you get this. It's like your vision kind of almost clouds over for a second, and it's like then there's this like roiling blackness just in front of you for a second, and then it's gone. But I am going to ask you to act under pressure, as this is a sanity check. The only one shock.
I do have a quick question to ask you though before I do that.
Mm-hmm.
I have and I may this I'm not gonna like ask to retcon anything because it just means I'm not been using it, so I didn't know what it meant.
Sure.
So I have one of my moves is called Jaded. Whenever subjected to shock, I take 1 less point. But it says I may roll passion to puzzle things out. Is that all the time, or just things to do with when I take shock?
Remind
All
me.
the time, I think.
Yeah, remind me which thing is the
It's called Jaded. It's
Playbook in?
an entertainer. It's in
I think that's set. Is that in set
shit.
2?
I
Let me see here.
think so.
Do.
That one is what I have.
On the fringes?
Yes.
Okay. Let me grab it real quick because I just wanted to make sure I'm looking at the right thing here.
Because I probably could have been rolling passion for those puzzle it out, but I'm not gonna redo it. But I I don't know if that's for everything or just
Drifter, dreamer, criminal.
It's not this playbook.
Playbooks is the playbook called the Entertainer?
yeah, it's the entertainer. I'm gonna look and see which.
Yeah. For some reason I
It's
don't.
flexible thinkers.
Oh, flexible thinkers. Okay.
That's one.
Yes, one.
Okay.
Um,
Playbook set.
yeah, it's all of it. Roll plus passion for all of it.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, in the future you may roll plus passion when you're.
Okay, that's good to know. Okay, but yeah, I'll roll act under pressure. When I needed it, it came through.
There you are. Okay, so that being the case, and as far as let me just check here, you take 1 less shock and may act normally. So yeah, no shock. So you're fine when you come back, but that was a little weird.
Yeah, I think if I'm fine, then I think narratively she manages to keep it together.
Yeah.
And doesn't like show that moment to Harold. She wouldn't want him to know that she experienced that. So she just pushes the music box forward and sits back in her chair. No, I'm not familiar with that song at all.
Huh. Well, it was worth a shot. And he'll close up the box and maybe jot down a few notes to himself about it. So, what are your plans for the rest of this evening?
Well, I don't really have much to do unless I'm asked to perform again, so I might just get some rest. It was a long journey.
Was indeed. Well, I don't believe there's anything that we need right now. So, unless there's anything else, feel free to retire for the rest of this bright, sunny evening.
I will. I hope you enjoy the rest of your evening as well and your items.
Yes. They just happened to fall into my lap. You'll just leave it at that.
Most dolls tend to do. She's just going to slowly stand up and she'll find Charlie's eyes and just give him a nod, and like the nod toward the stairs. That's where she's heading for the evening.
You, Dottie, you note Charlie has got this kind of look that you have seen before when he thinks that there is something something slightly suspicious up with someone that you have just been talking to.
I think, that nod is definitely her agreeing, too. It's just like she gives him a little knowing look.
Yeah. And so he's going to follow behind, but he's not going to follow behind immediately. So you head up the stairs.
She'll actually wait.
Oh, okay.
At the end of the hallway, like out of the way, until I think she's known Charlie for long enough. She would probably know he was going to follow her up, and she was going to wait.
So Harold, so Charlie approaches, as just sort of heading by your table, and he just sort of leans on the booth for a second. He just says, "Hey, Hill, your boss okay with you doing deals on the side?"
I don't believe that this is entirely unrelated to our mission here.
Oh, you think it's got something to do with the crash site?
I do.
Yeah.
I just haven't figured it out yet.
Okay. All right. Well, let me know if you need a hand with, the pulling in of stuff. You know what I'm saying?
I hear you.
It's important. Thank you. And, yeah, you know that there's an arrangement where Charlie is supposed to take away some of the stuff. You're supposedly going to be getting further instructions at some point. Yeah, he nods to you, and he turns and he heads up over following Dottie.
Cool.
And I think we're going to move to... If we're going to jump ahead in time a little bit, if everyone is good with that. Unless anyone
Nothing
has...
spooky happens in the night? Nothing.
Night? Well,
Not that we know of. Not
there
yet.
is one little issue. I wouldn't call it spooky. I would, however, call it a need for everyone to act under pressure to try to get to sleep with the sun shining outside all night long.
Okay.
I just want to see what happens.
Okay.
It doesn't mean you get no sleep necessarily, but I just want to see what happens.
I sleep like a baby. Look at that.
You are so good at sleeping. You are a champion.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm probably pretty restless.
Yeah.
If there's any sleep.
I'm about normal.
Okay.
Whoa, Harold really sleeps.
Okay, Harold also gets a point of lore, apparently, for having rolled
That's not a natural
Oh, that's not a
12.
natural 12. Okay, that's right. That's right, it's a 4 plus 6. Sorry, never
It's
mind.
not-
I was gonna have a dream visitation, but no. Okay. So yeah, you sleep like a log.
Does Harold curl up next to one of the dolls? Is what I really need.
I think he was going to actually, hold them up to a mirror first.
There are no
And-
well, unless
There are no-
did you bring a mirror with you?
Oh, there's not a mirror in the room that he's...
No, there's no
Daddy,
mirror in the
Daddy.
room.
Oh.
Dottie has a mirror. You could come borrow hers.
Yeah. Well, my question is, did Harold bring a mirror with him? Because unless he did, then like a shaving mirror or something, then he doesn't have a mirror.
Sure, let's count that as one of his knickknacks.
Okay. So, do you do that in the morning, or do you do that before you go to bed?
Let's be daring. Let's do it before he goes to bed.
Okay. So, let's see. What was the thing I wanted to have in front of me? Oh, well, it doesn't matter. Oh, yes, that's right. This is what I wanted here. Yeah, let's use that real quick. So...
I just remember we decided that there aren't any mirrors in this
Yeah.
village. I don't know why.
Your room, you have one of the exclusive rooms. It's got a window with shutters, and a little balcony type deal. So tall windows. And as you're holding up the mirror to see, kind of, and you take more time looking at the dolls, to get more detail, to make sure you've now got pretty much most of the details committed to memory. So
Right.
If you need to describe it or anything at some point in the future, you're not going to need to have it in front of you. And that includes the maker's mark. And as you're getting ready to put the mirror away, you see this shadow that seems to sort of pass on the other side of the blinds, the shutters.
Okay.
Which is weird because you're like on the second floor.
Huh. I'm sorry, did you say there was like an actual balcony? Like someone could actually be standing outside?
There's an actual balcony, like someone could actually be standing outside.
Oh. So... I'm sorry, so did he not get a chance to actually put the mirror, the doll up to the mirror?
Oh, no, you did.
Okay.
And I mean, you were, I don't know if there was something in particular you were looking for with that.
I just wanted to make sure that it, was casting a reflection. But...
Oh, it does.
Okay. All right, so he'll put the dolls down into the steam trunk, but then he'll pull out his walking stick.
Mm-hmm.
And he'll go, whoa, and swing the doors wide open.
Yeah, when you turn around to look at the shutters, you don't see the shadow anymore. Do you still swing the doors open?
Yeah, he'll swing them open wide and just see if he hits anybody with it.
Ah, you step out and there's no one on the balcony.
Okay.
Yeah, there's a you can see down into the town square, and there are folks out there kind of drinking, sort of looking around. A couple guys in flat caps just sort of look up at you and they continue on.
Okay. Well, I will sheepishly close the shutters, and pack away everything except for the music box. I'm going to leave the music box, right on top of the, the trunk that he's using to store his stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because perhaps he might want to bring it around tomorrow.
Okay. So you get all that set. In the morning, or at some point really between now and morning, or whenever morning is. It's hard to say when morning is. But I presume there's a time you sort of decided is going to be morning. I do want to ask if at some point Dottie either applies or removes makeup.
Yeah, for sure. She would use her little hand mirror after she washes her face to make sure her face is clear.
Okay.
And then she would in the morning she would also put makeup back on.
All right. So
don't like this question, Jim.
That evening, you're sort of doing that. You're sort of looking over your shoulder. You can see over your shoulder. And did you leave the shutters closed, or did you open them when you came into?
She would have opened them.
Okay.
To air out the room and such. But I do think she would have closed them when she came back and began to get ready for the to change for the evening and everything. She would have closed them for sure.
Okay. So their shutters are closed, but you notice there's like something shifting on the other side of them in the sunlight as it's coming down.
So she doesn't react. She steps out to find Charlie immediately. She plays it very cool, and just steps out into the hallway.
Yeah.
I would imagine that Charlie would stay near her room until he knew she was asleep.
Yeah, he hasn't gone into his room, the collective room yet.
Yeah, she just pokes her head out and just says, "Charlie."
Yeah.
I think there's someone outside of my room.
He pulls his gun and will immediately go into your room. And as you stay back, and he'll look around. Where?
I saw a shadow behind me through the shutters.
Goes up. Very quietly goes up to the where the shutters are. Sort of looks through one of the holes. And he slowly opens one. He looks out. Ain't nobody there. It's weird.
I'm not Yeah, you know I'm not crazy, Charlie. I wouldn't get you for nothing.
I know. He's looking around. I don't see a drain pipe or nothing.
I swore... maybe it was a trick of the light I'm not used to, but I swore I saw someone out there. Just someone passed by really quick.
He opens the shutters, and he cautiously, after looking around, he steps out. He looks up toward the roof. He looks down. It'd be kind of tough to get out here, but it's not impossible. There's like handholds, but they'd have to climb the wall or go up on the other side over the roof. I don't hear nothing. I'm gonna check around. Listen. Close the windows. Sit tight. I'm gonna go check around outside to see if I can see anything.
Be careful, just in case.
Yeah, I will. And just make sure you got your piece.
Yeah, I'm
All right.
okay.
And he'll head out, and a few minutes pass, and about like 10 minutes, and then he'll eventually come back, and he says, "Nothing. I didn't notice. I didn't see any loose tiles or nothing. Whoever was up there was really must have been really light. Did you hear anything like up above you?"
I didn't, did I? I just saw the shadow.
No, you didn't.
Yeah, she just shakes her head.
All right.
Maybe I'm just exhausted, Charlie. I don't...
Well, either that or they got some really skilled second-story workers here, which, given where we are, I wouldn't be a bit surprised. There are a lot of criminals around here.
Yeah. We fit in perfectly.
Tell me about it. All right, Dot. You gonna be okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. If I see anything else, I'll holler, but
All right.
I'm okay.
I'm just a couple doors over. If you need anything.
Yeah, get some rest.
Yeah, do my best. He goes and we'll leave.
Yeah, she goes to sleep, but she makes sure her gun is underneath her pillow and doesn't sleep easily.
So my only other question is that when you apply your makeup in the morning, do you sit in the same position, or are you in a different spot in the room?
Most likely a different spot. I don't think she like paid attention.
Okay. No, that's perfectly fine.
It's different, probably a different. Most likely be a different spot.
Seems to go well. All right. So the morning comes. What's everyone doing?
I think McCready kind of groggily takes his pillow, which was actually his jacket. Like he folded up his jacket to use as a pillow and just set the pillow on the floor. So just like puts his jacket on and would probably head down for breakfast if nothing else.
Cool. I just sort of want to get a general idea of what folks are doing. What is Jasper immediately going to get up and go to the tree, or is there something else Jasper's doing?
So Gray is gonna wake up. I was like, you can refer
I'm
to
now
me.
going to speak of everyone in the third person. I'm sorry, I don't know what's wrong with me today.
Okay. Yeah, no, I can do third persons, whatever. So, yeah, he's gonna go and wake up, get the sleep out of his eyes. Just kind of he probably snores. That's probably why Mitchell's just dead. So,
You get a couple of baleful glares from Charlie, but he doesn't say anything.
yeah. So he's yeah, and then he makes sure he knows where the tree is, even though there's probably only one really spooky tree, just to make sure he knows it's the right spooky tree. And yeah, probably just gonna head out.
Okay. Before you head out, one thing, Charlie will kind of catch you as you're heading out. I say, "Oh wait, Gray. Listen, there's probably We might have had a burglar running around last night.
You heard something?
Somebody saw something, and it was we couldn't confirm whether it was whether they were there or not. But there was somebody like might have been up on top of the building last night. Just want to let you know in case you spot anything weird going on.
Okay.
Okay, and you are heading to the tree. What is Harold doing this morning?
Harold is having breakfast. Maybe just finished breakfast. Probably just had a strong cup of coffee. And he'll carry his notebook and he'll have the music box with him.
Okay.
And so his plan is to ask questions about the symbols that he sketched in his notebook.
Awesome. And finally, what is Dottie doing this morning?
She's going to come down, find sort of breakfast, check to find Charlie, and then also go find Yelena.
Okay. So these plans set, because I just wanted to get that out because I had started asking before I realized what time it was. And we're at halftime, so we're going to go ahead and go to break and then deal with the things of the morning. We shall be back in about 5-10 minutes. See you shortly. We have returned, and it's morning in Verkhoyansk, and well, it's always morning in Verkhoyansk this time of year. It's always, or perhaps the middle of the day. It's hard to say precisely what time of day it is. You can only tell by your watches. So, Gray is heading out to the area, the overlook, basically, where the big tree is, and where you can see the whole town. And I believe everyone else is having breakfast. Is that right?
Yeah, at some point, Dottie wanted to find Charlie and Yelena, but otherwise she's having breakfast.
Okay, yeah, no, you'll find they'll be to hand. So I'll come back to that. I'm gonna do. We're gonna follow Gray first, and then we're gonna see what else happens. So Gray, you head out. People are kind of doing their morning things as best you can tell. There's like a paper delivery route. Things. I mean, there's not really much of a newspaper in this town. It's just very small. And you're sort of heading up. You go and it's not too long a walk. You can head up the hill, and just up this sort of a side road. And you see there's still, there's only about an inch or two of snow on the ground right now because it's the height of summer, and at least right here, it's still pretty cold. You're heading up the hill, and you approach this sort of a clearing area with a big tree in the middle. You see, and you can see the dude standing there. Also, as you're heading up, you can look out. You can see the whole the whole town, and from the square and the hotel. And you can look out, and you can see, if just a little bit distance, about half a mile away, you can see the fort where they keep the prisoners. And it looks, actually, as you're kind of glancing out there, it looks like there are, there's a second truck out there. When you flew in, you saw one truck. Now there are two. But
are these large, like, container trucks, or like pedestrian trucks?
They are military trucks.
Large military trucks. Cool.
Yeah. Of the type probably used to transport people.
Yeah.
So that's what you're seeing out there right now. But then you see Igor at the top of the hill. And he's just sort of, he's at the bottom of the tree. He's kind of just looking around slightly furtively.
Kind of casually glance around and walk up and say, I hope you weren't waiting long.
No. It's hard to tell this time of year how long anything happens. I take it you noticed. This is your first night here. At the
Yeah,
night.
I noticed.
Yeah. It messes
Sun doesn't
everything
go
up.
down.
Messes everything up. It pisses off the Domovoy no end. But yes. I asked you here, yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Be here otherwise.
Thank you. It is difficult since everything. So, they've gone to sleep by now, though. I think we're good. And they don't come here. He says, looking up at the tree. There was at one time there are not usually a lot of families in town, but there were more than there are now. Once upon a time. Women and children, and there are not so many now. It has been a difficulty since for the last several months to a year, since last summer, when we had and the sky was like this. And it is problematic to explain where I think they are. I cannot precisely describe it. But
You think they're away? Or
that is...
were taken?
Yes. Taken. By her.
Her.
There is we have our share of local legends, I suppose. This is, there is one, have you heard, does anyone speak of the Darkling Witch?
I might have. But remind me anyway.
You might have heard him speak of the Darkling Witch earlier, yesterday, at some point before night.
Yes.
Or that evening.
Yes.
And he says, she is... it is difficult. It is... since the time it happened, she was brought here by when it happened, and I think she awoke, and last summer she came for them, but everyone is like their senses are dulled to it to an extent. It's hard to remember that it was different at one time. But I remember. They tell me I'm crazy, but I remember.
Okay.
We had...
I'm gonna take this chance to read the person, just kind of to read a person, and because I'm streetwise, I'm just gonna make a roll
Yeah.
so I can ask some questions.
Mhm.
Especially me. Okay. Because I'm streetwise, I can roll plus affinity. It's a 6, and that's a fail. So I'm just mostly being like, okay,
So,
okay. You said you wanted me to find someone. No, you said I was going to find someone.
and he just sort of is now. He's got his hands to the side of his head, and he says, "She's trying to listen in. She can't get here." He says, pointing up at the tree.
Mm-hmm.
It's too close to. But she knows you're here. I'm sorry. I'm so sorry.
Yeah.
There is. She will be waiting for you. She may try to reach you. Don't let her in. Whatever you do, do not let her in.
Okay.
She will try to tempt you with false memories, try to tempt you with things, but it's not true. None of it is. And as he looks off to the side, as he's so kind of getting distracted, he just sort of, his eyes narrow. He just sort of turns and he's looking into the forest.
Okay.
Something is wrong. Something's very wrong. And he's just sort of staring, and he's slowly walking forward toward the edge of the forest.
I'm gonna try to pull him back, honestly. And either I do it or I roll act under pressure. Your choice.
No, he'll let you stop him. And he sort of turns. He's like, someone's
you sure
hurt.
you want to go in there, friend?
Someone's hurt.
Someone's hurt? I don't see anyone or hear anyone.
It's a little further in. Just picked it up as I was shutting her out. I don't know if she did it or not. There's someone hurt in there.
Okay, let's go slow, and I'll go with you.
Okay. The two of you walk into the forest. And now we're going to switch over to Dottie.
I mean, we don't have to, Jim. We can just.
I feel as though this is the time.
I don't want to know what's happening in the forest.
And so Dottie, you're able to find Charlie pretty quickly. He's actually waiting for you.
Yeah, she just walks up to him and is like, "These eggs are shit."
I figured. Yeah.
Everything has a sort of taste of vodka somehow.
Well, I snuck, I snuck a few things along. If
Charlie, you're a lifesaver.
yeah, and he has like some, he's like some a little bit of fruit and nuts and stuff like that. That he says, I can, if they still do this, I mean, I can. Yeah, it's some what they do in that kitchen is a crime against humanity. I got half a mind to go in there and cook stuff myself.
I mean, you'd be doing us all a favor.
Yeah, probably. Yeah, he's not a bad cook, actually. He's okay.
Anyway, have you seen the old lady that owns this place? I think her name's Elena.
Yeah, I think she's. I don't know if she's up yet. Her daughter's down. Is down there. She probably is the one ruined the eggs, I'm guessing.
Well, regardless, she probably knows more than her mother does anyway. If you think it's a good idea, I'm gonna ask her about, if she heard anyone snooping around or sensed someone. She might not have trusted us or outsiders.
Listen. I hope you don't mind. I kept your name out of it, but I tipped Gray off to the fact there might be a burglar or something around.
Yeah, that's fine. You'd probably appreciate that anyway.
Well, I figure, guy used to hunt down my buddies, and seemed to be good at that enough. So may as well.
Well, what's the enemy of my enemy is my friend kind of thing.
Yeah, ain't that the truth?
I'm gonna go talk to this to her daughter and ask around.
Okay.
Yeah, so instead of finding Yelena, she's gonna go find her daughter.
All right. So you're coming down the stairs. Are Mitchell and Harold still eating, or are they eating together or separately, or what's going on down there? What's going on down there?
It does make sense that Mitchell's still eating, and if Harold's there at the same time, it would make sense that they're at the same table.
Yeah, I agree.
So, eating with the help. That's very good of you. That's very good of you, Harold. So you see, and you eventually see Dottie and Charlie come back down, and they're heading over to talk to Galena, and Dottie, you'll see Harold and Mitchell down here.
Yeah, she doesn't speak, but she nods acknowledgement to the both of them. Sort of looks around for Gray for a moment, but it doesn't bother her that she doesn't see him.
Yeah.
She doesn't know his schedule.
Galena is actually there at the bar, so you can go over and talk to her if you so desire.
She waltzes right up to her.
There are a few other patrons in here, but not many. There are only like one or two. For some reason, the breakfast here isn't popular. I don't know why. And as you're coming up, she says, "Oh, hello. Did you sleep all right?"
I did. Good morning. Did you sleep well? You're probably more used to sunlight all the time than we are.
It's all I've known, really. This is the time you put up. You put blankets sometimes up. Sometimes we do that for the guests over the shutters if they need it. That kind of thing.
The shutters helped a lot.
Good.
I do have a question for you though, if you don't mind. No?
Of course.
Last night I think I saw someone outside of my window. I know I'm on the second floor and there isn't much of space out there, but I wasn't sure if you had someone working or I was just wanting to check in. I would prefer people not be outside my window if possible.
There is. There is sometimes it's a little. I suppose it doesn't usually happen this late in the season, but we do sometimes have there are a few families of cranes that sometimes will fly down and sit on the balconies.
It moved rather fast. It seemed to look like a human, but a crane, you say?
Oh, well, I that was one possibility. It looked like a person.
The shape and the way it moved, it didn't have any bird-like qualities.
Sounds like one of my grandmother's stories.
Has your grandmother
We
known for seeing people outside her window?
She's known for a lot of things. But it is very difficult to get up there. It's I don't know. We can but if there was someone trying to rob you, we can.
I don't know if they were trying to rob me. They didn't try to come in. I think they were just watching or listening. I was getting ready for bed. I don't understand why they wouldn't be out there, but
I will talk to grandmother about it, and maybe we'll be able to get in someone to keep watch.
Charlie's going. My man over there is going to keep an eye out, of course. But I would appreciate that, Galena. Thank you.
Yes.
Can I read a person?
Yeah.
I don't trust anyone. Okay, that's a 10. I have a +2.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So I want to first. Is she telling the truth? Like, does she really not know what this might have been?
Yes, she is telling the truth.
Okay. She nods and she gives Galena a smile. Did you cook the breakfast, Galena?
Oh yes. I'm trying out a new recipe with the eggs. Do you like it?
It's wonderful. She sits down and keeps staring at her. You didn't see anyone suspicious out and about last night, did you?
Well, no, we just had the usuals in. We had Dr. Babashev came and went when he typically does, and he actually left a little earlier than usual, which is odd, I suppose, for him. But we had that fellow Dreitzer came in. We don't Dreitzer and we did see old Igor came in too. They are what one would usually think of when thinking of suspicious people around here. That's the most that I saw last night, though.
All right, I'm just going to let Charlie know. What is she really feeling?
She's actually, she's a little... She's actually a little... Seems a little distracted. She's a little overly concerned for your safety. It looks like she's, yeah, she's but she's very, yeah, she does look like she's very, sort of, you are this amazing thing, apparently, to her, and she's very interested in just everything that you have to say.
So I think she, leans closer and, just taps her hand on Galena's, well, I appreciate it. Like I said, I'll let Charlie know. Ensure that any extra set of eyes will help all of us here. If you can just be on the lookout as well.
Of course, absolutely.
And what do they intend to do?
Actually, right now she's she's not completely
she
certain.
To make more eggs.
But she's basically because she's actually a little bit she's actually a little bit flustered, but she's intending to go and wake up her grandmother probably.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, I think she just pats her hand again and she points over to where Charlie is. She's like, I'm gonna if you could just send over some coffee, I'd appreciate it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
Of
she's
course.
just gonna go sit down with Charlie. It's sort of give him the information that Galena told her.
Okay. And, so she's going to be doing that, and getting you coffee, and then talking to her grandmother. And Harold and Mitchell, what are you fellows up to?
So before she leaves to go fetch her grandmother, he's going to say loud enough for her to hear. You know the darndest thing, Mitchell? He's going to point to something on his chin. He's go, did I cut myself shaving this morning? Darndest thing is, couldn't find a single mirror around here.
Yeah, I think you're fine. And yeah, I haven't seen any either. That's kind of strange.
Strangest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. She reacts to that. She doesn't like. She kind of just is. You can see that she's on her way to. She's just set the coffee down at Dottie's table, and she's turned around. She's heading toward the back, and she stops when you say that. And then after a few seconds of standing there, she'll start moving again.
That's...
So, Harold will notice that, and he'll look a little bit smug, as if, he sort of just figured something out there a little bit. But then he'll open up his notebook and show Mitchell the symbols that he found, as well as the music box. If there's nobody else around right now, I think he is going to play the music box for Mitchell and see what he thinks about it. Because everybody should go mad.
Yes. Excellent.
Would you like me to puzzle it all out?
If you would like to take that chance, feel free.
I mean, that's the I can't think of any questions or anything. So
Certainly.
9.
Okay.
So puzzle things out.
All right, you get one question.
What does this mean? And that could refer to symbols or music box or anything.
I'm sorry, referring to the symbols or
Referring, if it can refer to all of it, great. But if it only refers to one thing more than the other, that's fine.
What does this mean? Okay. So as you're kind of listening to it, it seems to you that it's kind of weird because it reminds you a tiny bit, just a tiny bit, of a radio check signal, like the kind that you use on the plane. Not exactly the same kind, obviously, but it's not like the same pattern, but it's like if someone were to try to take that and turn it into a song, it would probably sound like a song of the same genre as whatever this is.
Weird. Sounds like some kind of radio noise, something like that. Kind of taps his fingers on the table.
There's sort of a check signal you can send back and forth and sort of to make sure that the radio's working. It kind of reminds you of that.
Yeah, kind of like a radio call. I don't know if you have any experience with that kind of thing, but if you want to see if there's anyone sending or receiving in the area, something kind of like that. It's weird. Yeah, I don't think there's anything else. Unless the symbol struck me as anything other than a half star on a tree branch. I think.
Nope, that's all it looks like. Yeah.
Nope. Yeah. It's weird.
One looks like a
Where's
maker's mark. The other, you're not sure.
Yeah. What? Where'd you find these things?
Got them from the fixer, Lev Dreitzer. He said he had items of interest to me, and I decided to take a chance on them.
Alright. I respect the hustle. Good exo. He begins to finish his coffee.
Excellent.
Excellent. And if there's something else...
This is the face of regret. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, but if there's nothing else, I think Mitchell will kind of like set the empty mug like on the plate and then kind of like casually walk over to the fireplace. I kind of like, oh, kind of cool, I'll warm up. Then I'll try and look around the fireplace and see if there's anything of note or that sticks out, and I would like to poke around.
Okay. Yes.
Yeah, roll
Feel
with
free.
more reason. Hooray!
Okay. Excellent. Let me just look at that move real quick before I do something terrible.
Yeah, nothing in the area, or you hold one.
Yeah. Okay, poke around. Here we go. So there's either nothing else in the area, or the keeper may hold one to use as a hard move at any time, and you may attempt to search further. So, if you would like to keep searching, there's a possibility. Actually, anything else in the area? It's weird. I think I'm going to go ahead and hold one, sir.
Alrighty. So, yeah, I think so. I can just like search further in the scene, or what?
Yes, you may.
All right. In that case, I think he's starting to less casually see if there's any like carvings in the wood or anything of the sort, or like at this point he's like kind of touching things, see if there's anything that like he's not seeing, and
You're looking deeper.
another miss.
Another miss.
Well,
I don't want to go completely down the rabbit hole here, so
right.
what I'm going to say
Yeah.
happens is that as you're just sort of spending a lot of time looking at it, there is a coat of arms that you spend a good deal of time looking at, and it's like it's a little weird. It's like it looks like a large, a weird looking bird. It's hard to say. It's kind of anthropomorphic, maybe. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah. So you see that. Harold, is there anything you are doing at this point this morning? Or you want to make your way toward doing?
I guess he's gonna take a look at the fireplace and just see what Mitchell is looking at over here.
Evaluate? Sure.
Yeah.
Go ahead and poke around if you so desire. What's the worst that could happen?
Lots of things with you involved.
I don't know what you mean.
I'm sorry, what do I need to roll for poke around?
That I believe is
Reason.
raison. Yeah. Actually, it's luck.
Oh, damn.
However, I'll give you the I'll give you the 9 that you rolled initially when you tried to just roll, so that you'll have, so it'll still come out to 11. Yeah, it's the same modifier, so yeah, you'll still. I'll give you the 11.
Okay.
So go ahead and select one of the things on that list there under poke around.
Okay. Where did my... I lost the link to the book that I was looking at.
Okay. So you can find one good item, keeper's choice, one minor item, your choice, one clue, plus one ongoing when acted upon, or one of the things from the 7 to 9 table, which is find a hidden area threshold, in or out, keeper's choice, find a minor item, keeper's choice, or determine a physical hazard present. If none, you find that out.
Let's go with just keeper's choice, I guess.
Okay, which keeper's choice? One good item, or one hidden area threshold, or a minor item?
One hidden.
Hidden area. Okay. So, there's an interesting thing about the way that some fireplaces are, some mantelpieces are carved. That does happen among a number of different cultures, including Eastern European cultures. You have, and out here, obviously. And so you make note that this follows that sort of pattern. There is this sort of belief that sometimes that and if a fireplace is designed in a certain way, it's meant to be a sort of a welcome hearth for particular spirits. It's something that was not uncommon in Rome, actually. And there was some interaction with sort of spirits that in other cultures were kind of known as kobolds. Now, you think that there's probably some equivalent in Russian mythology for those sort of like house spirits, because this mantelpiece is basically sort of designed, culturally speaking, to have a house spirit sit on it. From what you can tell, so it's like they expect that it's that kind of thing. It's like the way you can tell from the sort of you only usually see this degree of detail on something from the period this is from, which is not too long ago, but when it's something where it's when it's something like that, because normally who's gonna stand like just inside the fireplace to look, so that's something that they put there for like the house spirits or the fire spirits or whatever it is that they're looking for. So this is that kind of fireplace. Also, as you're resting your hand on the mantelpiece, it's a little weird, sort of toward the right-hand side. The air is a little colder over there for some reason.
Huh. So I'm going to point out the difference in temperature to Mitchell and see what he thinks about it.
It's weird. It might be some kind of, I don't know, some current going from somewhere on the outside to here. Something like that.
So, is Harold able to determine whether or not there's some sort of draft going on?
If the flue were open, then there would be coolness below. And I mean, it's cold everywhere, right? So I mean, there's that. Sure. But yeah, that area being specifically just a tiny bit colder, that is, while it's not unheard of, there might be a little bit, there's, if the air were circulating, if there were like fans turning or whatever, there are not. So you're not sure why that's happening the way it is.
Now that there seems fairly odd. This is where you kind of really appreciate that American craftsmanship. If only they started burning something a little cleaner. Like
Yeah,
a
this-
cleaner liquid or gas.
Yeah,
Well-
like that gasoline or propane or whatever.
Yeah.
Speaking of odd, I see something like this this weird thing, and it's gonna like point to the covering of a bird.
Yeah, you're not sure if that's a bird or like a giant mosquito. It's weird.
Huh.
Oh, so it's bug-like, eh?
A little bit, maybe. I mean, it looks kind of like a bird.
Eh.
They do have like big cranes around here apparently, so it could be it could be that. That could be what that is. That could be the really long beak that a crane has. Maybe. It's a little wavy though.
And he's just like staring at it for a long time.
Harold's just gonna give it a poke a few times. And just be, well, isn't this the ugliest thing you ever saw?
Yeah, it's
It's,
weirding me out.
it kind of stares back, sort of, maybe, or maybe you're imagining it. It's hard to say.
Oh.
Hey, like steps back. Well, not like in shock, but it's like that he's gonna like step back and probably bring like the dishes to like towards the bar wherever dishes are washed.
All right, yeah. And so that's happening. Let's shift over back to the detective and the madman in the woods. As you go a little further, a little into the woods. You know, he's started walking with like he's got his hand up next to his temple, kind of like this. As you're kind of stepping through here, there's some a bit more shelter from the sun in here because the canopy, it's not terribly thick, but so you still see these piercing bits of light coming down. But there is a decent amount of there is a decent amount of sort of this going on. Sort of the wind whipping by. And as you get a little further in, you do note that it sounds. You do hear scampering somewhere. It's like they're like animals out here apparently. There's a point you get to a sort of an area. It's not a clearing, but he sort of stops and he's looking around. He's sort of as if he's lost his bearing. As you look ahead, you see this just poking up out of the snow. You see this little creature, this little white creature. You think, sort of leap up. And just sort of pads out. It's got little pointy ears, little pointy nose, and it's a little fuzzy creature. And it just sort of turns, and it sort of, when it turns and it sees you, it just sort of like, ah! And it immediately spins around and dashes forward. And sort of off to the left. And as you follow its gaze, you see what looks like an outline in the snow. Might be a person-shaped outline. And yeah, so that's what you see in that direction. And Igor has yet to notice it. What are you doing? Can you hear me okay?
Sorry. Definitely muted. That was just my bad.
Oh, no worries.
Okay.
Um, did you hear everything okay?
So he hasn't noticed it yet? He's
Yeah,
just
yeah, he
there's
hasn't
a hurt
noticed.
person.
Yeah, he's looking around. But it's a bit of a distance away, and he wasn't looking in that direction, so.
Yeah. So, I guess I'm gonna poke around a little bit more, just to look to see if there's, like, any other clues besides the big, giant thing.
Besides the thing,
Besides the thing, just in case, because it's a trap.
besides
Clearly.
the obvious. Oh, sure, yeah, absolutely.
Clearly, because it's a trap.
That's good. Do you have any moves that help you with that also, or is?
No, I'm just poking around.
All right, yeah, go ahead.
I'm methodical, so that's reason, but that's that.
Sure.
And
All right.
I'm gonna, since I rolled an 8, I'm gonna be like, is there a physical hazard?
So you look around, and not now.
Not now.
No.
And
That
yeah.
however, that animal, which you think is a fox of some kind,
Yeah.
might have did have rather the look of someone that is just sort of coming back now tentatively, as though it had a sort of an is the coast clear look about it.
Oh. That's fun. Yeah, since I am the detective, I'm methodical, so I actually get one extra thing on that. So, I guess on 8, find a minor item. Your choice.
Alrighty.
Find something in the snow. Your choice.
So,
Yeah.
I will describe this after I describe the obvious thing
Okay.
that you find in the snow, which is a dead body.
Yes, we're gonna approach the dead body now.
I am not going to call for a sanity roll on this because of your background. As this is the type of thing you haven't seen it in quite this way before, perhaps, but
Like, it's a dead body. It's not like a dead body oozing goo.
not necessarily. Well, as you sort of head up to it, this looks like one of the lumberjacks that was in the pub last night. You think it's about the same size. You actually have to move some of the snow out of the way since there's a little bit of a layer of it. And you see that it's got like the fur and underneath the flannel that one would associate with someone in that profession. There is an axe lying not very far from also this guy's body. As you know, sort of as you're looking around and you're digging in, the axe actually is interesting in that it has a kind of a little thing etched into the side of one side of the blade.
Okay, so I'm gonna clearly just turn to Igor and be like, you know him? This is a...
He nods slowly. He's a little bit. He's not completely in shock. He's just very sadly nodding. I'm so sorry. Yes. And he's just sort of looking him up and down. Sort of goes up to the. Looks up at the parts that are around the face. He's like, it's cost ya. And actually, as you look down, you see that he did bleed out. It looks like now that you're digging a little further down, the snow underneath him is kind of red. And there's this big gash in his chest. as though something with like wide claws kind of just, and then there's also one at his throat.
Okay, so I'm not an expert, but I don't know any bears that look like that.
It's not a bear. It's not a bear.
It's not a bear. I'm gonna go over to the axe because you have an axe. And there's writing on it, so let's lean in and look at it.
Yeah. So it is in so the writing's in Russian. Did you pick up a phrase book or anything, or
No.
Okay.
I definitely do not speak Russian.
You do
or
not
read Russian. Igor is literally right there.
Yes, Igor is right there though, so he can translate.
If he can read.
He can read, strangely enough.
Okay.
He sort of looks at it. He says, "It's for it is it's too good. It is a saying." You look also though at the top of the axe. At the top of the axe, and there is actually burned into the wood. The wood goes through. So in the areas where the top, there is this little symbol that looks kind of like a little sort of tree branch.
Yeah, I'm gonna definitely take the axe. Just kind of like try to awkwardly hold the axe because I'm not equipped to hold an axe. I have some gun holster, but it's like okay. And I kind of wonder out loud, what should we do with this body? Do I tell someone? I think we should tell someone.
They're not going to be able to do anything. Not against this. And you look, there is like a shotgun down lying next to him in the snow. He just sort of shakes his head. It looks to you, actually, you have experience in this, so it looks to you as though he fired it. It looks like he got off a couple of shots. It's a double barrel.
Okay.
And then he went for his axe. And then the perpetrator apparently came and clawed the hell out of him.
Okay.
Before he was able to strike them.
Yeah, so it's like, yes, feels kind of bad just leaving him in the snow, though.
We will, he does not, I believe, have any family around here, but, there are people we can tell in his lodge. His lodge should know.
We'll tell him, and, I pick up the gun and hand it to Igor, because I'm like, he won't be needing this, you might.
And as you pick it up, you note that it has been fired, but has not been reloaded at this point. So, he takes charge of it. And are you wanting to try to actually carry the body back, or do you want to?
I'm not gonna carry a body back.
Okay.
The answer is just no. I'm not. It's like I will
tell the authorities.
Bring the axe as proof of his death. I feel like he's just gonna never let go of the axe. It's just gonna be like, I found his axe, I found the body. We're gonna go. Spooky fade away music. Why we have this little montage of trudging back into the
Yes.
Here we go.
So you slowly trudge back toward town. And so let's see. So once again, you're trudging back toward town to tell someone. So I'm going to head back briefly to the people in the bar. What are you folks preparing to do today? At this point, anything else in particular, or do we want to wait until the situation with Gray resolves and meet up, or what have you?
Dottie's 100% just sitting there drinking her coffee, and I think waiting to see if Elena comes back or has any news from her grandmother, that kind of thing.
Yes. Okay.
She's just biding her time, basically.
Yeah, since Mitchell overheard, he's probably doing the same.
Okay. So yes. You're gonna... Yeah, so she's gonna come back. Was she supposed to do anything else right now? I'm trying to remember. Oh, yes. She was just gonna talk to her about the situation with... Okay. Galena does come back. And, she will head over to Dottie. And say... Tell you... I have, she's up. She will be out in a little bit. But, it's difficult sometimes talking to her about these things. She doesn't... She didn't want to say anything yet. But when she comes out, I'm going to go and talk to someone about having someone out to watch.
Galena, you seem a little nervous. Are you all right?
She's... It's probably nothing. She just takes a lot of what is this town is inevitable to her, I suppose.
I can speak to her if you need me to. Might sound better coming from an outsider.
Maybe that would help. You're welcome to if you wish. Can I get you anything while you're waiting?
No, thank you. We're fine.
She nods. She heads over to the other table to Harold and Mitchell. Gentlemen, is there anything I can get for you? Leave it. All right.
Sorry.
My apologies. Yeah, Mitchell's just more coffee, please, and thank you. I haven't adjusted as well as Miss Dottie seems to have.
Oh, it's difficult. If you want, we can. We have. We should be able to get have a blanket in there over the shutters. That sometimes helps.
Yeah, I feel like I'm moving with a couple of the others, and I don't think they would mind that too terribly.
I'll see to it.
Thank you very much.
Sir, can I get you? And she turns to Harold.
Just another cup of coffee. Oh, and while I have you here, he's going to flip open his notebook and show her the symbols. Do you recognize any of these symbols?
So, let's see. So the maker's marks on the she looks over. Let's see the maker's mark. There's a maker's mark on the thing. She just sort of glances and she's looking. She looks at the maker's mark for the dolls and she's like, I think I've seen that somewhere before. I can't put my finger on it. And let's see what else is in there. There's the tree thing. She looks over. Grandmother has drawn that sometimes from time to time. She says, pointing to the little tree symbol. And a few other people. It's around town. It's an old superstition. It's about warding off evil spirits, that kind of thing.
I see. When do you think your grandmother will be up and around?
She should be out in just a little bit. She just woke up, so it's probably 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's okay. I could drink a cup of coffee for 20 minutes.
All right. And she goes and she starts to get coffee. During this, during this time, I think I'm going to have Gray and Igor get back into town, and Gray, what do you do? Where are you heading?
Unmute again. Well, Igor said he had a lodge and he had to know where people are. So I actually don't know where this lodge is.
Okay.
So I feel like I should head to like the church with the axe and go tell a priest or whatever that someone has died. 'Cause
that's actually a good tactic. Because that's so you head over. Igor will stay with you if you wish. As you're doing this, you get there. There's an old Russian Orthodox priest there, and who's just sort of getting things ready. Getting things ready in the morning, and he just sort of comes out and just sort of nods to you. And he sort of looks at, and he says something in Russian to Igor, and he's sort of nods slowly, and Igor is telling him, apparently, and you can see his expression change.
This is like,
as it's like, and he asks a question and points sort of at you, and Igor says something else. And then the priest looks at you and just sort of looks you up and down. You're one of the Americans who came into town last night, yes?
Yes.
Igor says you have found Kostya?
Yeah, I was in the woods and I have found him, and he had this, and I don't know. What do we do now?
And you're showing him the axe, or is it?
Yeah, the axe. I assume this is his, and it goes to someone.
Oh, he looks. He shakes his head, and he sort of makes a little sort of cross, sign of the cross across him. Sort of thing. He's like, "No, it will no good. Perhaps you should hold on to it."
Okay.
He says, "It is. He does not have family here, and they. But I will inform the members of his lodge. They will want to keep much of this internal, but if it is as described," he says, looking at Igor, and looks back to you, "it would perhaps be best. While you are here, you may have more need of it, more need of that than. Let's see if it does anything for you."
Okay.
It is not our way, he says, gesturing sort of up to the church, but it is a way.
It is a way. Okay.
If the lodge wishes it back, I will send word, but I do not think they will.
Okay.
Thank you. We will get someone sent out. And he just says a few more words with exchanges a few more words with Igor. And what are you doing at that point?
I am going to be like, okay, this is a good morning, and I'm gonna go turn to Igor and say, "Do you want a drink?" This is
Always, yes.
okay. There you go.
So, as you are trundling into the bar with Igor at your side, you see a little old lady who is coming out. She's got a shawl, and just sort of coming, stoop over. This is the owner of the bar. You met her last night.
Yeah.
This is Yelena, and she's just sort of hobbling out. Outside of the bar, and she's about halfway to Dottie's table. It's taking a little while for her to cross the bar. And when you come in, and she looks up, and she just sort of points with her cane. "Why do you bring that one in?"
He's walking in. Does he not need to be here? That's my question.
Igor is just sort of like. No, sorry, Elena. No, I thought perhaps. You stir up trouble. What you here for? I was going to get a drink. You want a drink? You have drink, but you'll take outside. Okay. She goes and she hobbles back over to the bar. She quickly pours a drink, and her hands are operating like really faster than that, really fast. And she's like, she sets it on top of the piano, and she comes back, and she just does a sort of a sign. She's heading back. You'll go. He nods. He goes and he picks it up. Reaches forward, picks up the drink. It's actually very nice of them to be having this exchange in English for you.
It's like we're just gonna read the body language. I'm gonna pat the old man on his shoulder and be like, "Have a nice day."
No, thank you. And Yelena turns around. She looks at you. She looks at the table with Harold and Mitchell. She looks over at the table with Dottie. She says, "Americans do not understand what is happening here." And she is sort of moving back toward the back. And there's actually really no one else in here right now aside from the four of you and Yelena. And Galena's also here, but she's actually no, she took off the moment Yelena came out because she's seeing to additional security. Yelena goes over and she sits down kind of at a spot in front of the fireplace, and she sort of gestures to Dottie. This seems to be as far as she's willing to travel.
I'm gonna slide in and take a seat at a table, some table.
Yeah, Dottie's going to notice her and go over. Madam, I'm sorry. Your granddaughter seemed to know, pointed me in your direction about seeing something outside of my window last night. You don't seem too happy about it.
She slams her cane down on the floor. She looks up and just says, as loudly as she said anything else to everyone in the room, "All right, which one of you pissed off the witch?" And that's where we're going to end for tonight.
What? God damn it!
That was good. That's great.
Too good.
Okay.
Who's pissed off? I'm just putting my vote out there that it was Harold.
Whoa.
Harold and your dogs.
It totally could have been, you know.
It was Harold.
Well then, we have come to the end of our time, and I would ask that once more for us to go around and as we do to have our outros, as we have once again gotten to this point in the story, and there's more coming. But let's see what we're going to do here. Let's go ahead and just say again where folks can find you, anything you got coming up, and what you thought of the session, any particular moments that stand out or anything like that. And we shall go first to Levi.
Hello, I am Levi Phipps at Levi Phipps 97 on Twitter. That is the best place to find me. And this was really fun. There's a lot of parts that I liked, but getting to properly meet Yelena, so good.
Awesome.
It's also been a long time since I've ruined anybody with a pun, so that was refreshing.
Yes.
Yeah, this was great. Is it next Wednesday yet, please? But yes. This Saturday I will be on twitch.tv/Narcissus at the second session of Fun Shots in Pew Pew Mew Mew, a game of Laserkins. a GMless game where we are cats with superpowers. I am looking forward to that. And then next Tuesday, May 21st, Mass, Plain Obsolescence, The Rise of Shadows. Be there or be square. It's finally happening. And then, yeah, that's it for right now. Oh, also, since it's our second season, Kate's been doing reruns of the past season to help people catch up, including one that's been going on right now and will be happening through Thursday and something else. But, yeah, that's great. And that's everything I have right now.
Alrighty.
Right now.
Excellent. Cool. Looking forward to whatever the more thing that happens is. That's awesome. Let us now move on to Jasper.
Hi, I'm Jasper. This was super fun. You can find me on Twitter at Hawkinsdale.
Fought the Demon Haunted Tower.
Yeah, like this
Saved
session.
The people of Swanvale.
Really digging into the plot right there.
She
I now have a magical axe, I guess. So that's super fun. Things coming up. I will be at DreamHack Dallas. I will be having fun there. If you want, I can hang out. We can buy me a drink. I don't know. But that's all I'm doing so far.
Excellent. And now let us move on to Anino.
Hey, I'm Anino. You can find me at Twitter as Anino Gaming. That's where I post most of my stuff. Things that I'm doing, I have a weekly show on the Extra Life for Kids channel at 3 p.m. Eastern Time. Currently, Jim and I are talking about doing a casual drinking stream. Which I guess is the best way to call it, because apparently my new company has a bi-weekly D&D session, and asked me to roll a character for them. So I'm going to roll a 12-level character and wow them with my stellar RP skills. I don't know. Whatever. But anyway, so I figured that Jim and I would have some drinks, have some chats, all that sort of thing. But you can find out more about that on Twitter when we figure it all out.
Yeah.
So.
It's already that cool. Were there any final thoughts about the session, or did you already do that? I'm sorry, my brain's not completely here yet.
Oh, man, you weren't even listening to me. Oh my god.
I
I'm
promise.
just kidding. Yeah, it really, business really picked up here. I felt that maybe the playing with dolls thing was a little out of character, but, you know, times are weird.
Well, yeah, and you have to test them, make sure they're good for resale if need be.
You know, maybe they might have animated and started, you know,
Always
doing a little performance on the table. You never know.
One never knows.
You never know.
Finally, let us go to our entertainer, Katy.
Hey, I'm Katy. You can find me on Twitch and Twitter at KatyFace. I am actually hopping right into another game right after this over on Capricorn Cross's channel. You can find me tomorrow at 10 Central Standard Time playing Witch Quest on my channel. Starting next week. Or Saturdays, I'm on Wandering DM playing some Call of Cthulhu. And then next week, of course, like Levi said, Mass returns. All this week, there's going to be reruns on my channel. And Monday, there's a new campaign, Monster of the Week, starting. I'm very excited for. So yeah, a lot of things happening next month. We will also be having spooky games Wednesday and Saturdays, one shots and smaller form campaigns. Sign-ups for that will go out toward the end of this month. We would love to have you involved. But yeah, sorry, I enjoyed it. I loved it. I can't wait to see what evil witch bird we have to deal with.
Excellent. Delightful. Well, folks, as for me, I am Jim. Jim Ryan. You can find me at OtherDoc on Twitch and Twitter. My website is jimyesthatjim.com, where you can find my Geek Observation podcast and links to my various other podcasts, audio dramas, writings, and such. I've got links down below to my website, Twitter, YouTube channel, and the most recent short story that I have released. Friday afternoons, Saturday and Sunday mornings, I play video games. This coming Sunday, on Sundays we do one-shots. The one-shot this Sunday will be Dialect. So look forward to that. That is about a language and how it dies. And that's going to be, I think, really cool. So come check that out. On Monday afternoons, I'm actually running Inspectors over on Katy's channel.
I forgot about that one. Sorry, it's new, so it's not. It's just right. It's right on my mind.
Oh, no worries,
Yeah,
no worries.
And that game is awesome.
Yay! No, I'm really looking forward to coming back to that because the first session was delightful, and I'm excited to see how it does with like the full, just sort of doing regular cases. So we're gonna be doing that. It's a paranormal investigation comedy. And then, of course, 1 week from today, the next episode of Tremulus, Shadows Under the Ice. So please come back, tune in. Also, sign-ups right now are still running through this Friday for a campaign of Invisible Sun that I am running in about a month or so. I'm just going to start that out. It's going to be a probably longer-term campaign. It's going to be sort of a flexible scheduling, dependent on the group I end up getting together with it. Also an option for main players and featured players and then guest players to come in. So there's a potential for this to have a huge number of players overall in it. We will see. See, I'll just get all my ducks in a row for that. So that's running through this Friday. If you want to sign up for that or whatnot, then you can follow the sign-up link down below. Or just go to jimmyesthatgym.com and click on Game Sign Up, and it's going to be there too. So when we go to the end card, I'm going to raid the Phantom Roll Booth. Because right now they are playing, it looks like, a thing called Dungeons and Deductibles, and it has some people on there that I know, and it looks hilarious just looking at it. So let's do that.
Oh my god, I love insurance.
I know, right? Feel free to, if
I'm
you
so
wish
excited now. It's going to be like work.
Feel free, if you're so inclined, to stick around and see how they're marrying those two things, insurance and D&D. But in the meantime, thank you so much for watching, folks. Please take care, and I shall see you next week.